Greetings, fellow investigators, and welcome back to our video podcast, Into the Darkness, where my friends and I play the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. I'm your host, Tom Rayleigh. Our campaign is entitled A Time to Harvest. It was written by Brian Sammons, Charles Beziglanis, Glenn Owen Barras, and Mike Mason, and it's available on the Chaosium website. Jeff Wilkins is our game master, and this is Chapter 2, Episode 2. So, without any further delay, let's continue our journey into the darkness. Jeff?
Thanks, Tom. Small little recap. You guys, the students, have arrived back at the Miskatonic University, and the other students from the field trip have arrived. You talked briefly with Higgins. He sort of confirmed your suspicions that maybe you guys got pranked this time. Tug kind of stormed off, mad as heck. And if I recall, Jerry, Danny, and Jasper were about to go see Clarissa to try and get some more information as to what's going on or what happened. But as I just told the players, I'm going to, because I think it's going to help the story a little bit, I'm actually just going to fast forward like 2 days. So we'll just say that, Tug, you stormed off. It sort of threw the monkey wrench into the plans. Danny, Jasper, and Price were going to do it the next day, but then one of you couldn't make it then. So basically it's 2 days later, and now you can come back to whatever you were intending to do.
Well, I'm still pissed off, so I'm going to go with what everybody else wants to do, but I'm not fuming about it anymore.
Okay.
Has there been any sign in the last 2 days of, is it Blaine? Have I got the name right? Is he showed up again or not?
You have not seen him at all.
Maybe he got expelled.
The last couple of days I've given Danny a little bit of time to think, and he's thinking if Blaine has a room here on campus, he's wanting to try and get into the room somehow or other.
Yeah, I think that's where we left it off, where you guys wanted to visit Blaine, but you didn't know where he lives. So how are you going to figure out where he lives?
I was going to try to not seem overtly to be stalking Clarissa while assuming that Blaine might be stalking Clarissa, and therefore hope to spot Blaine trying to run into her. I believe that was my last plan.
I think Danny would suggest to Jerry that, you know, if you're maybe telling us your plan is to keep an eye out on Clarissa, why not just walk up to her and ask her, do you know where he stays? I mean, that might be an option. You know. Put the charm on.
Danny, if you're asking me in character,
yeah.
Then so I'll respond. I already tried that.
Oh, no luck.
She didn't volunteer the information.
We could always break into the dean's office, you know, seeing as we're not being in any trouble or anything like that, and look up the list of students. Or we could chat up the secretary and see if she would tell us where he is.
Well, he must have some friends. Haven't any of us ever seen him with anyone around. Jeff, I searched my memory.
Wasn't he kind of popular?
Well, you'd think that a man who enjoyed the bottle as much as he did would have at least some popularity.
Yeah, some of the backstory, I don't know if you remember or not, but some of the backstory, when the original students went missing, Blaine retreated to the bottle then, and in doing so, it was the same, like whatever friends he had, he sort of alienated. So whether or not, I'm sure you've probably seen him hanging around with some people, but whether or not they would be considered friends or not,
and we rack our brains to recall who those people might be.
Was Blaine on any of the sports teams?
No, I don't believe it was.
Okay.
Or do we know anyone, any people who are, I don't know, known for being really heavily into the drinking? So because maybe he might know them tangentially or from the same, club or bar that doesn't really exist or certainly doesn't serve prohibited substances.
Yeah. All right, let's do. Why don't I'll start with you first, Jerry. Do a luck roll for that.
For
Whether or not you can
remembering
recall.
or for knowing about drinkers or everything I just said?
Yeah, just everything in general.
Great. Okay. Just all right. Now that my video isn't lagged, hopefully other things aren't either.
Rob the jar of magic peaches. Remember.
Well, do I get to, if I rub the peaches, do I get to roll twice and take the better one, or what?
Keeping those peaches.
If you eat the peaches, maybe.
If I eat the peaches, I'll have to make a luck roll to survive, and probably a stamina check, or a constitution. Okay, so here comes the. Oh. So luck rolls are against your current luck, not your starting luck. Is that correct?
Correct.
Okay. I forgot how humorous Jeff's suggestion was. Yes, well, no success. You remember what my luck is, Jeff, when you said that?
I remember you were down, but didn't we boost back up with the whole jar peaches?
I don't. Oh, if we did, the sheet isn't reflecting that. Do you recall how much you thought it should have been boosted back up?
About 2 slices of peaches worth.
I don't recall off the top of my head.
I don't even remember what the mechanic was.
Well, what was your starting?
I genuinely don't understand what's going on at the moment.
It was 45.
Completely lost track.
All right, just for the sake of continuing, let's just call it 45 then.
Wow, those peaches! That I'm certainly convinced of their amazing magical properties. I still failed the roll.
Okay.
But that was totally worth it anyway. So just for that, we'll assume that I'm cradling the peaches, sort of staring at the jar intently, assuming that something's going to come to me if I just allow myself to relax and concentrate. And apparently Jerry must be doing this for quite a while. So I'll let someone else try to solve this problem now.
Danny says to Jasper, I think Jerry needs a doctor or something. He is just, look at the state of him.
He looks like he's having some sort of episode.
He's sitting staring at a jar of peaches.
He's cradling it like a baby. What's he doing?
It's just like a football player and his superstitions before a game. It's
more than that.
His thing.
I'm a bit scared of this. This is. So he should get some help. Someone needs.
I say this quietly to them. I say, we could sneak in when he's not there.
I can
and put real peaches in there, and he'll think they've miraculously come back.
I heard about maybe half of what you were all thinking you were muttering and whispering over there.
Are you having audio hallucinations as well? That's awful.
May I recommend that you would enjoy yourselves a great deal more if you would like to go to the lower drawer over in the side room. I have some peach brandy that I'm sure you'd enjoy, along with your senses of humor. Now, if you don't mind.
The middle of the day, I can't drink.
He's trying to bribe us with illicit alcohol.
He's lost it, man.
Now, if you don't mind, I'm going to return to scrying and seeing if anything comes to mind. Maybe you'll share it at a more audible level if you think of anything useful yourselves.
All right. So if you guys have an alternative idea, or do you want to just go with the luck roll?
You guys are welcome to rub the peaches too, if you think it would help. The only thing that Danny can think of... The only thing that Danny can think of is looking up the telephone directory in the library for Blaine's family name. But apart from that, I'm happy to do a luck roll.
Yeah, I mean, they'll look it up in the white pages. There were telephone directories since the 1800s. We established that in another game.
Is that an option, or shall I just roll luck?
I'm trying to decide how mean I want to be.
Blaine.
What's his last name?
Blaine.
Okay.
Blaine Peaches. Blaine Peaches.
All right.
Yes. His name, I think, is Robert. Isn't it Robert Blaine?
Yes, correct. I was curious. We've gotten in the habit. We all just call him Blaine, and that could have been his first name. I was curious if you guys were. Do a luck roll. I'll give you a bonus just because it's the white pages. Jasper and Tug, can you each do a spot hidden for me?
Sure.
Okie dokie.
I got a 16.
Nice.
I got a 98.
You're still looking at the pages.
There's something like, oh.
What bonus were you giving me, Jeff, for that? Because I just rolled 94.
94? Bonus, you roll twice for the...
Oh, all right. Thank goodness for that.
I'm not doing well tonight.
86. Can we start it? Can we start this game again?
All right.
Hey guys, look at
trying
that.
to find some simple information. Come on, Jasper. Do a luck roll.
While he's rolling, Jeff, did I miss? Is it possible I might have missed something in the audio? I don't recall if it was established exactly where we were.
Nope.
I assumed that we were all just doing our own thing in the span of 2 days, but when they all saw me scrying in the peaches, I assumed that I must have invited them over to sort of hang out and consider what we were going to do, because even Jerry is still sane enough not to do that like out in public. So I figured that trying to spot hidden might or might not be relevant if we're like in my house.
We're all together, so.
Well, I know we're together. I figured that I wanted to be sure I knew where we were, though.
I think for the sake of the story, I'll say that since you are off campus and the three of them are on campus, I'll have it so that you came over to visit them in the dorms.
In that case, okay. In that case, I actually really did bring some peach brandy to share with them.
Okay.
And it's I don't know. And
Dude, that's really dangerous considering how much trouble we got in for getting drunk the other day.
I know, Jerry. I didn't bring my pistol to our gathering today. You know, seriously, we got into trouble already.
I don't even want to see a bottle of booze. I've still got.
Well, you won't have to see it. It's you won't have to see it. I already stashed it in the lower drawer in the other room.
So what do I see?
Well, apparently not the bottle of peach brandy because it's carefully hidden. I do know how not to get caught.
I'm laying off that stuff for a while.
I'll say, so Tug, I'm going to say that with your spot hidden, your dorm room sort of has a window and you can see the main campus yard out front, or kind of like out the back of your window.
The quadrangle, yeah, okay.
Quad, sure, yeah.
Okay.
In the center of the quad, there's a statue, a tower statue, like a pedestal with a statue on there.
Yeah.
And in the last 2 days, what you've noticed is right around the same time every morning, just a little bit before 8 o'clock in the morning, you've seen all the other students that were on your field trip, all but Blaine, not including Blaine, but all the other guys, Clarissa included. Everybody gathers at that statue, and you see them kind of like, you know, they kind of like look around almost shiftily to like see if make sure there's nobody around. You see them talking, you know, you don't hear them obviously because you're looking at the distance. But, you know, there's maybe some hand gestures, or they're obviously talking to one another. And then after only 5 or 10 minutes, they just disappear, and one group goes off one way, and the other group goes off the other way.
And am I seeing this right now going on?
I'm going to say this. It kind of happens a little bit before 8 o'clock in the morning. So maybe Jerry didn't come over until maybe around 10 o'clock in the morning.
Okay.
So maybe in the last few days, it's something you've noticed this on 2 occasions now.
But I saw it this morning.
Yes.
Okay. Hey, you know what, guys? There's something I want to talk to you about because it's kind of strange. Are we supposed to be in some sort of a club, like
What?
all the people that went to to Vermont? Is it Vermont? Yeah. No, West Virginia. No, Vermont.
Vermont.
From the trip the other day, because old Dean Strathmore's statue out there in the middle of the quad. The people from the trip, the field trip people, are comrades. I keep seeing them getting together out there by the fountain, and they get out there like for maybe 10 or 15 minutes, and they chit chat a little, and then they leave.
When you say keep seeing them, how often?
I've seen them twice. I've seen them twice since we've been back, but we've only been back 3 days.
Well,
and it seems like they only show up down there around 8 o'clock in the morning. And I'm thinking, are they planning some other fuck with us thing?
Why are they? But I mean, that's a kind of weird place to meet, isn't it?
Well, I mean, it's right in the middle. Maybe they're all getting ready to go to classes, but they're up to something, and I want to know what the fuck it is. And I don't see Blaine out there.
Do you know? You know what's been bugging me? And look, I know what I saw. I saw people snatched up, and they're just walking around. They're walking around like nothing happened.
I agree, Jasper.
So why if it's a joke, why wouldn't they have come out by now and just gone, "Ha, the joke's on you"? And
maybe
that's what they're planning, is a big reveal that they're going to tell us that the joke that we know is a joke is a joke.
Maybe the other dimensional beings have already installed the wires in their brains. Maybe maybe they're still reorienting themselves.
They're definitely not vampires because they're out in the middle of the day.
Why are you still talking about vampires?
Because that's what I thought they were. But, the more I think about the thing, if they claim that this was all some elaborate hoax, it was I don't know how the hell they did that. They were lifted off the ground.
Can I just pause for a second?
Yeah.
The man who just said, well, maybe it's the creatures that put the wires in their brains, just accused the other person for like crazy talk about them. That was a good one. I like that.
I don't know what's going on, but I want to find out.
I think it's some sort of political thing, or maybe
now, Jeff, did I observe
political? Well, what kind of politics?
Oh, I don't know. It's like, well, I mean, it's the usual, isn't it? It's either communism or fascism. How have they got moustaches or beards?
Well,
that's how you tell.
None of them have moustaches or beards.
They're devious. They might be anarchists.
Danny maybe leans forward because he's embarrassed to say it, but he maybe, especially to Tug, because at least he's talking the way he's thinking. He leans forward and says, maybe they're come back possessed. We shot something on the roof, and it wasn't somebody getting pulled up with a rope.
But if they are possessed or controlled or subversives, then why are they meeting out in the open? Are they? That's why I think there must be some kind of influence, because otherwise, surely they could all find their way to a secret location. So they must need a very easy place to meet where no one can be lost or unaccounted for.
Well, if nobody's standing around them, then they can talk openly. Maybe they don't want to look suspicious.
Did you say they were standing by the statue?
Yeah, they were. Look right out here the window. See the Stratford.
One of us kind of. What if one of us went out there early and hid behind the statue?
You know what the thing is too is that it's not like they just happen to bump into each other. It's like they all come from different spots on the quad, and they just at like just a moment before 8, they all just like come
Tug,
together and they
does
talk.
Higgins has Higgins ever been over here?
Sure, Higgins has been everywhere. Higgins is one of my friends, but there's something weird with Higgins.
That's right. So if Higgins is Higgins as he normally is, if normal is the term you would use, then he would, of course, know that you might well see him out your window. So either they don't think that you would find it odd that they're all accidentally meeting at the same time every morning, twice in a row, without inviting the rest of us, or he doesn't quite recall where you live,
I got a question.
or doesn't think you'd be paying attention.
I got a question. If their brains were replaced by wires and tubes like we saw, wouldn't there be a scar? Should we look, see if we can see a scar at the hairline?
Well, if someone was shoved into a rock, wouldn't it do damage to the rock?
That was the most bizarre question. I have no idea what you're talking about.
Well, you do remember what we all saw, don't you?
I don't know what you're talking. Oh, the rock and the guy, Jeffrey.
Yeah,
Jeffrey.
that's right. They may not need to. They might not even need to open the cranium.
Well, I think the easy answer is we keep an eye on them today, and we turn up or try and get close tomorrow morning if that's when they meet, Tug.
I'm not sure there's anywhere to hide because it's not that big of a statue. Is there like a fountain or anything?
Let's not keep an eye on them today in case they decide not to meet again.
Is there a little, what is it, a pedestal and a statue or?
Yeah, I was going to say, not that it's important, but the dean's name is Halsey, I believe.
Halsey.
You threw a name out there, but I was impressed. It actually, at one point, it was a fountain, but the dean, in I think it was 1908, they switched out the fountain with a statue of the dean. So it's kind of a pedestal, and then he's on top of it. So he's like 9 feet tall.
So has it still got the fountain?
No, but there's like a small like garden, like fancy plants, flowers.
So there's probably going to be somewhere that someone could secrete themselves.
Well, Jasper, you're the smallest. Why don't you secret yourself? I'm inclined to just walk up to them and socialize.
Let's sort of get it clear, because if there's just a statue and it's in the center of a quad, there's not much place you could secret yourself.
Yeah, no, I just meant it's almost like what are they called? Mums, like flower pots,
right?
Things like not big bushes.
Not like
I don't see why we couldn't just be walking through the quad at the moment that they're.
Well, if we walk through it and they're talking and they stop talking, we know that they're up to something.
Yeah, I'm in favor of taking a walk through there just to see it.
Well, let's all meet up downstairs near room 35 at 7:45 tomorrow morning, and then
we don't want to approach them as a group. Unless you're planning to for us all to walk up and admit that you've noticed them all gathering at the same place and time, we don't all want to. We don't all want to approach them together like we planned on it.
Well, we are students at this university. We've got as much reason to be walking through there at 8 in the morning as they have.
I'm not questioning that.
We're just on our way to a class or something.
Well, then
unless we're all in the same class at the same time, Jasper, that it would make a bit more sense, I think, at least approach from different directions.
We've all got classes in the morning anyway, so
who's got the best attention? I mean, you all can. Yeah, we don't all have classes at the same time. We can, maybe one or two of us will walk past, or maybe we could walk from opposite sides of the quad.
I like that idea.
Or maybe even just install ourselves somewhere overlooking the quad. Wouldn't that be a bit more subtle?
We wouldn't be able to. Well, I'm already overlooking the quad. I mean, you can see them meet. I've seen them meet twice. We kind of want to hear what they're saying, though, right? Or,
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah, we want to listen in if we can.
I think even if they go quiet when we're walking past, that tells us something, doesn't it?
now, can I assume, Jeff, that they're not the only people in the quad? It's just that they're just the group that suddenly appears there, and because there's got to be people in the quad.
Just to clarify, classes have not officially started yet.
Ah,
I think it's still another week or 10 days away.
okay. Well, that makes it even creepier. Okay.
And the fountain area or the statue area is the center of the quad. So like there's a couple benches nearby. It's a common meeting spot. You know, everybody knows the statue.
I got a clever idea, and hey, that's not often for Ted. I can go borrow a megaphone from one of the cheerleaders, and we can get out on the balcony over there at the edge of the quad, and we can put that up to our ear and see if we can hear what they're saying. We'll have to test it. I'll have to get up there and put it to my ear, and one of you guys go down there and talk, and we'll see if we can actually hear what the person is saying. And that way we could just be way up there. And
Sorry, we just started playing Tales from the Loop.
I don't know what you're saying.
That's a great idea.
Why don't two of us sit on the bench?
Yeah, you could just sit on the bench down there, but then they might not talk.
Yeah, but that would at least show us that they've got something to hide, wouldn't it?
Maybe.
I've got an idea, guys. How about two of us sit there at the bench for them arriving, right? And two of us hide under the overhang at the building or something. And if they don't talk while we're at the bench, we can walk away, and then the other two walk by once they get talking.
Okay.
And then we know if they're purposefully not talking because we're there, somebody's there.
We can still meet at 7:30 at oh, here we go. We can still meet around 7:45.
Sure.
So that's
the center of the L, big L.
Okay.
Hexagon looking shape. I'm going to say, Tug, you're in dorm Y, West Dormitory.
Okay.
So that's what you can pretty easily see across the field. It's not that far, but I don't know if your megaphone idea would work. I don't know. Maybe, but...
When Tug has seen them, have they always met on the same side of the statue?
Or do they meet around the statue?
Sure, we'll say it's like the same spot.
Okay, so they're all on one side.
We'll say the east side.
Okay.
We should maybe also check at the end of the day, because if they're going there at the beginning of the day, I wonder if they're maybe meeting at the end of the day and talking as well. So.
Well, we can sit right up here and look.
Yeah. That would be cool.
We don't have classes yet. We can sit in here and not drink and get in trouble. You guys can play cards if you want.
Well, how about this? So I didn't mean to necessarily derail your Blaine plans. Did you still want to do that? Or?
I'll stay up here. You guys see if you can find Blaine.
So I think my only idea I could come up with Blaine was, do we have any knowledge of him staying on campus at all?
All right, so let's do this, if it's okay with you. Tug, you don't have to stay up there to
Okay.
It's like the same time every morning, so you know it's probably
Right.
probably going to repeat itself tomorrow morning, so you have the full. So you can go, and I'll say that with the idea of like checking the white pages, you know, you walked over to the library, didn't see anything there, so he's probably unlisted. But for all the failed luck rolls, it just is basically you almost resorted just walking down the middle of street, just stopping random people saying, "How do you know where Blaine lives?" But eventually you see somebody on the college that you recall talking with Blaine earlier, and you've seen him a few times hanging out together. So we'll say he's like a friend, as close as a friend could be, and he did give you an address.
Okay.
It just, because of all the failed rolls, it just took you quite a long time to gather that information.
Okay.
He gives you the address of 116 West Pickman Street, which
isn't very.
Can you show us the map again? Is it
Yeah,
on the map?
it's not that particular address, but it's 1 block south of where you are now.
Okay.
So let's just say it's 1 block south and 1 block east. So easy walking distance.
Guys, do you think I should bring my pistol just in case he gets crazy?
Well,
Can you walk
there's
around on
4 of
campus
us
with a
and
gun?
1 of him. Do you really want to shoot him?
No, I don't.
I mean, I think it's
That doesn't mean you shouldn't bring your
but-
pistol.
I'm
I think you should
gonna
always bring your pistol.
I'm gonna bring the pistol without any bullets in it, and just in case we need to threaten him with something like that.
Okay, but be careful. Bear in mind we're still in kind of a lot of trouble.
You're still going to have the bullets, right? I mean, in case it's not Blaine and he sprouts whatever was on that thing's face from his. Well,
I don't
you'll
think
have the bullets, right?
I don't think I need them, but I can always hit him in the head with it if he gets angry. Anyway, let's go and see this guy. Fed up looking for him all day long.
All right, let's go.
Yep. You guys make your way down there. You get out to the address, and it's just a simple, suburban neighborhood. It looks like, let me describe it. It looks like a 2-story house where on the outside of the house there's a stairway that leads up to the 2nd floor. So it's like a second entrance. So it's clear that he's probably renting out the upstairs apartment.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go. I start heading that way.
Okay. How about 3 of you? Could you do us, or 4? All you can do is spot hidden. Okay, let's hope you got all your bad rolls out of the way.
I think that was. Oh yes, that was just a pass. Just.
Okay.
55 out of 60.
09. Thank you very much.
There you go. You guys start heading up the stairway on the outside of the house, and you notice that those that passed on the way up, there's a window that sort of looks into the 1st floor apartment, and you see an elderly gentleman sitting at his kitchen table, and it looks like he's drinking a cup of tea. He kind of looks up at the noise, so he knows you're there. He just doesn't really react.
I'll raise my hat.
He'll just nod.
Hey, we're looking for Blaine. Is he here?
You're just going to yell through the window there?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. He stands up. I'm just trying to think. It's August. Yeah, the window's probably open. Yeah, he just stands up and he comes closer to the window so he doesn't have to yell. He's like, Blaine, I've seen him, but he was gone for like a week. But he's keeping really strange hours lately. I haven't really seen him a lot lately.
So he's not here right now?
I don't think so.
Do you mind if we go up and knock on his door?
Sure, absolutely.
So let's go up.
Thank you kindly.
Yep. Knock on the door, no answer. All the cards are cold.
We try the door. If
It's locked.
He's keeping strange hours. What's this guy up to?
I got 1 point in locksmithing. Can I roll?
Jerry's already trying to pick the lock.
Do you have
I have locksmithing.
Oh, I'm gonna watch him picking the lock. That's fascinating. That is.
I'm not successful though.
Okay. Well, I guess he's not here.
Is there a window we can look in or anything?
He's on the second floor.
Yeah.
Jeff, question. If I had tools particularly suited to that task, would I be permitted to roll again in the future? Or is it like once per lock ever? Or could I roll again and consider that the push when I went and got tools? Because I can't think of a legitimate reason to explain how I would push it, and I don't want to risk breaking it or getting caught. But Jerry knows that if he had tools, he would stand a better chance.
Well, I'm going to say it makes sense to me that you would have used your tools initially if you had them. I'm
assuming I wouldn't carry them around. Like, I'm not like a burglar. I just know how to do it.
I would say you would have to if you're going to use locksmith. I mean, how else are you trying to pick a lock with your fingers? You know
I'm assuming I could have improvised something like
a paper clip.
Like I don't know. I wasn't sure if they had like the paper clips that we're familiar with in 1930, but there must be something similar. Yeah. So.
Danny says to Jasper, "I'm going to go and talk to the old boy. Do you want to come?"
I think that's a good idea. Just let me try something. I'd just like to run my hand along the frame at the top of the door and then check under the doormat to see if there is a key anywhere or if there's any plant pots or anything like that.
He's got the extra points for role playing there. Come on.
Yeah, go for it. Luck roll, definitely.
A luck roll. Luck roll by the man who keeps rolling 90s all night. 35 out of 60.
Nice. I will say that there's a little flower pot with a dead plant in it, and it's under the flower pot.
Hey, look what I just found.
Oh.
Awesome.
I'll stick it in the lock and give it a darn good old turn.
Click. Suddenly, klaxon bells and alarms go off.
Oh, it'll be the cops.
Now, speaking of the cops, you guys are aware you're breaking and entering.
We're not breaking. We're not breaking.
Okay.
We're entering, but we're not breaking.
If you guys are wanting to look about, shall I go and talk to the old boy just in case he gets suspicious?
Yeah. That's I can't believe I'm doing this.
Are
we really going to do this? Are we really going to go in here? Because this is like once we
if Jasper's hesitating that much, has Jasper already opened the door?
Well, I've opened it, but
so Jerry just goes in.
I've unlocked it, but I haven't opened it. So the door is closed. I've literally just turned the key and it's gone click.
All right. So Jerry, while Jasper is waffling, Jerry opens the door and goes inside.
Oh, careful! You nearly pulled my finger off with that key. Ow.
Danny's thinking to himself, "I'm not being a part of that right now. I'm going to go and talk to the old guy."
Be in there. Let's think about this before we go in there, because he could be there. Well, you could walk in on him in his apartment. That could be problematic for a start.
So Jeff, I don't know if you want to rule that I was successful in just walking past Jasper or not, but
I'm gonna look at Tug, and I'm gonna look at Danny walking back down the stairs, and I'm going to look at Jerry, and then I'm going to look back at Danny, and
Danny's going like that.
I'm just going to go and follow Danny.
Do you want that?
I'm just like, hey, we can just say that that he needed something from his room, and he told us where the key was. So, yeah, okay. I'm right behind Jerry.
Yeah, I think I'm going to go and I think it's better if two of us concentrate on stopping the old man from going anywhere near where he might possibly see that door is open. Because as soon as he sees that door's open, we're in a whole heap of trouble. So let's go and stop that from happening, Danny.
All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's do this. All right, let's start with the apartment then. So, Jerry, you kind of push Jasper aside, and you force your way, not force, but push him aside. You walk in. Tug, you follow behind. Danny and Jasper are heading back down the steps towards the old man. First thing, Jerry and Tug, your eyes need to adjust. It's very dark in here. He's got all the blinds and shades drawn. So it takes a moment. But eventually, your eyes kind of adjust, and it's just dark and gloomy is all. It's not, it's not pitch black. Mm-hmm. It's a mess right now. There's, it looks unkempt, not clean. Glasses, dirty dishes laying about.
Bed made or unmade?
Unmade. Definitely. Clothes on the floor, just.
Are there liquor bottles?
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to ask you to do a spot hidden, as a matter of fact. They're kind of scattered about, actually. Some are half full, some are empty, some are just laying on the floor.
Before touching anything or doing anything else noisier than entering or rifling things, is it possible to just stop and listen to see if I hear anything?
Sure.
In the place?
Yep, do a listen roll.
Is this just a room?
Very small. Yep, maybe.
Restroom is down the hall, communal restroom.
It's just an upstairs apartment is what I'm imagining it as. So there's a small bathroom.
Okay.
The kitchen is basically like a hot what are they called?
Right.
Hot plate almost.
So I don't hear anything.
I want to look and see if there's anything on his desk or like that, or on his bookshelf that has to do with weird shit, like conspiracy shit.
Okay.
Like I did in the teacher's lounge or the teacher's classroom.
Like, does he have one of those boards with little pictures of people and strings and arrows and
or is it all just non-Euclidean math? Quantum.
Okay, so you are right. There's a small desk. He's a college student, so he's got a small desk there to do his studies and homework and stuff. Along the top there's a shelf with several books, a few bookshelves. There's a set of encyclopedias. I think at the time they probably cost a pretty penny. I don't mean they're rare or
They're Britannias, right?
Yeah, not everybody has a set of encyclopedias in their room. There's several books on geology. There's a few books that are well looked through on anthropology and American folklore.
Anything marked in the folklore book?
Sorry, I'm just. No, nothing marked. Matter of fact, they look fairly new.
No papers with scribbles or doodles or
well, yes. Next to his bed, he has a small nightstand, and there's a small stack of books there. And since you specifically were looking for it, Tug, there's 3 books that are catching your eye. One's called The Iris Unveiled. I'm sorry, Isis. H.P. Blavatsky is the author. There's a second book by Reginald Scott called Discovery of Witchcraft. And there's a third book by Ludovico Maria Sinistarius called Demonality.
Well, he's into some weird stuff here. I think you're more interested in this stuff than I am, Jerry.
Let me see. Isis Unveiled. Well, it looks like
Egyptology.
looks like Blaine has a better taste in reading than he has in liquor. So,
I'm going to pick up the last
Theosophy,
one while he's looking.
Witchcraft, and Demonology.
I'm going to pick up the last one. Is it in English or is it in Latin or something?
I don't actually have the details in front of me, so I'm going to say it's in English. But it is a rather obscure book.
What did you say the last one was, Jeff?
It's called Demonality by Lodovico Maria Sinistari. Yeah, if you guys want to do a little Google research on your own, that's fine.
All right. I don't know. He's into weird stuff, but then he was always kind of into weird stuff, wasn't he? Does it look like
Tug? This isn't demonology. This is demoniology. This has something to do with incubi and succubi. Now that is a fair sight stranger than the other two volumes.
what the hell is an incubi and a succubi?
Those are demons that have intimate congress with mortals.
Sex demons.
That's right.
Huh.
Vampires.
Not the kind of thing that not the kind of thing that someone would traffic with casually. That's for certain.
Can I tell from the indentations in the bed if he slept in it recently?
It's pretty much a mess, so it's hard
It's
to
a mess.
Yeah.
Tug, let's see. Let's look through these and see is anything marked in these books.
Well, you look
yeah,
through the books.
notes.
I'm gonna look and see if he keeps a journal.
All right.
He's the kind of a dude that keeps a journal, but he might not. So I'm gonna look around for a journal under his pillow, under his bed, or under the mattress.
Well, Clarissa must be a frustration indeed if he's willing to resort to succubi.
That's actually another thing. We've gotten the impression that he's obsessed with Clarissa. Do we find papers with "I love you, Clarissa, Clarissa" hearts and stuff like that?
Also, do we find anything that looks like it could belong to a woman in this room?
Okay. You guys are throwing a lot at me, so I'm going to
All right.
try to get some answers in here. So, Jerry, I'm picturing you're kind of infatuated with the books at the moment.
Well, I've read Isis Unveiled, so I don't need to be fascinated with its content. But
Okay.
I mean, I am fascinated with its content, but I don't need to read it here. I'm sure I've never read the Sinistari book. I just know what succubi are. So
Okay.
I probably do slow down when I start looking through that one.
Right.
But
That's what I meant.
But I am looking for notes and also turn pages where the corner is turned. Anything that would suggest what he was particularly looking for in these books.
Yes. So nothing like that. Nothing's been marked. So nothing specific in these books. Tug, I'm going to say you see on his desk. There's a letter.
Hey, I found a letter. It's August 20th. That was from a couple of days ago, so he has been here. Mrs. E. Cratchit, 12 Orchard Road, Cobb's Corners, Vermont. That's back in the town. Mr. Blaine, I write this letter only to tell you why you haven't received any response to your last 3 pestering letters. My beloved husband, Jethro, who was a great and honest man, if ever there was one, is dead. Mr. Perry says it was an accident, but I think better of it. I told Jethro not to get mixed up with you, or that Mrs. Devine, was that the teacher? And all of your oh-so-smart college foolishness. But you and that woman got him to go against me, and now he's dead. I hope you are happy, sir, and I hope you rot in hell. I know he died because of the stories he was telling you. I don't know how, but I'm sure you had something to do with his untimely demise. Please, if you have any mercy in your damnable heart, do not write me again. May God forgive you, because I cannot. You have made me a widow before my time. Imelda Cratchit. Was that the lady at the house? I'm asking Jerry. The lady at the house. Remember when we were looking for Blaine? He left. Except that wasn't us. That was the geology people. So I can't ask that question.
So just to refresh your memory, Divine is Daphne Divine. She was one of the missing students.
Ah, okay.
And also to refresh your memory, that's who Blaine originally had his crush on.
Daphne Divine.
Yeah. Now, since I already have it up, and since you specifically mentioned it, Tug, the seasoned investigator that you are, you see also a little down feather on the floor just under the bed. So that leads you to kind of flip the mattress up a little bit.
Uh-huh.
And there's a slit in the mattress. And when you reach in, there's a small book that you take out.
Okay.
And when you open it, it looks like it's in a woman's handwriting. And it becomes clear that it's Daphne Divine's diary. And when you open it, a piece of paper falls out, and you see this.
Oh, look here. Dear Miss Divine and colleagues, I write this note to congratulate you and your team on the splendid work you have performed so far. It is most impressive and goes to prove how ideal you are for this task. I'm also pleased that you are all having an enjoyable jaunt, and wholeheartedly approve of your return trip to Cobb's Corners. Yours, Roger Harold.
Roger Harold, is that a professor here?
Yes, he's your folklore professor who approved the field trip.
So they went to a previous field trip before Cobb's Corners, and then the next year they went to Cobb's Corners and they died or disappeared. And so that was from 2 years ago. And is there anything else in the little, I've got the little journal?
Nothing really of interest.
Okay, well, I'm not knowing that and not wanting to read the whole thing. I'm going to slip it in my pocket.
Sure.
And we'll look at this later. And I'm like, we're up here a long time. We better.
Well, we should find out from Professor Harold what
that was all about.
What they found with the previous fieldwork.
I think I'll take the letters, just because I don't want to have to try to relate all of this to the other guys. I want them to just take the letters and read it for themselves.
He'll know someone took the letters. Yeah, it's not that long. Let me copy it down.
All right, copy it down in your book.
I write it. I copy it down.
I'll put everything back.
Yeah.
I guess I'll have to set the journal back because we don't want him to know. So,
he might not think to check it unless he checks it every day. Have we disturbed any? Well, he might know someone was in here.
If he was in love with her, maybe he will. So
maybe he will.
We'll just put things back.
Well, here, let me take a quick look before you put it back, just see if I notice anything else.
There's nothing in it. So.
Okay,
flip. Yeah. I wonder what he must have saved it for sentimental reasons, but why is it hidden in the mattress? It doesn't make any sense.
Jerry, I'll say with a few like flipping of the pages, it's sort of there is some information there that becomes clear that some of the stories that Daphne Devine discovered on her first trip to Cobb's Corner. So it's sort of like it's almost like reaffirming some of the stories that you've witnessed and experienced.
Huh. Wait a moment, Tug.
They saw some of that.
This may not seem that remarkable to us, given what we experienced, but I'm sure Blaine knows that anyone else reading this would find it most uncommon. But you're right, we don't need it. I think what we've seen, we won't soon forget. But, well, here, I'm done copying the letter. I give it back to you.
All right. Let's put these back where they came from. You've copied the letters. I'm thinking in a devious manner. Let's leave. We know where he hides the key to his room. So if we need to come back, at the very least, we could tell the guy downstairs, Blaine sent us to pick something up from his room, and if he says, well, it's locked, I can pull a key out of my pocket and say, he gave us a key, and then we know where the key is, so we can just use his key to get in.
And he might not tell Blaine that we were by.
Yeah. So I think we need to sneak out of here. Oh, well, we don't need to sneak out of here, but you know what I mean.
If we do run into Blaine on the way out, let's tell him we were
looking for him. Yeah.
Well, we'll have to explain why we went inside. We can tell him we were concerned about him. We know that he knows all of the strange things. He'll probably be interested in sharing with us what he knows, unless he thinks that there was in our heads.
Jerry and Tug each do a spot hidden.
Ought to, so it's a extreme success.
Okay.
I got a 23, which is also a pass.
Okay. All right, so you guys are starting to feel the pressure now. Danny and Jasper probably can't talk to the old man Zero for that much longer. And you're starting to get a little paranoid now that you've been up here for a bit of time. But at a cursory glance, Tug, you go to you just pull his night drawer open, the night table,
right?
And in that drawer, there's some paraphernalia for what looks like he is experimenting with opium.
What did I get for the extreme success?
Yeah, what do you get? There's a strange shape that looks kind of familiar to you. Looks like his jacket is thrown over the shape and it's leaning up against the desk. Do you know what it is?
Peaches.
Chair.
Chair.
That's my guess.
A strange shape.
It's about maybe 3.5 feet tall from the floor to the top, and it looks, skinny.
Oh, probably a rifle, perhaps?
Yes. And boy, does that look familiar.
A very familiar rifle.
Yeah.
Well, at least we think he had a good excuse for wanting a rifle.
Okay, so recap. You copied the letters, right? You put the diary back. What are you doing with the books? Anything?
Well, Tug, you found them. Do you think you can put them back in the order you found them?
Oh, yeah. I'm good at doing stuff like that. I go through Patterson's stuff all the time.
Okay, and then, Jerry, what do you want to do with the rifle? Do you want to take it or you want to leave it?
Leave it.
Okay.
I already... you can decide whether I had time in the last 2 days to get a new rifle or whether I'm going to need to get one now.
Yeah, probably you've been distracted.
I would think so. But this reminds me to get the new rifle.
All right, okay.
Yeah.
All right, you managed to close the door, exit. Tug, I'm sorry, you're keeping the key, right?
No.
Oh.
I'm putting everything back, but we know where the key is.
Okay.
So
You're
we
gonna
can
put it back
fake
on
our way up here to say that Blaine gave us the key.
Yep. Okay. And at that point in time, you see Danny and Jasper talking to the old man. And what are you guys talking about?
Well, I think when Jasper and I were going down, I'm saying to Jasper, let's maybe, do you think we should make out we're just a little bit concerned about Blaine? Because he already said that he's keeping funny hours, so maybe we'll say we went on the trip together and we didn't think he was doing very well. What do you think? Looking for a bit of kind of sympathetic response or something. What do you think?
Mute.
You need to take that lollipop out your mouth, Jasper.
I realised that my mute wouldn't go off. Sorry. I've been pounding the key and it didn't do anything. I think we should mainly keep him talking. But
Yeah.
if we tell him that maybe just keep it as vague as we can and say, oh, he wasn't feeling himself.
Mm.
So then if there's anything wrong with him, maybe the old fella will fill in the blanks.
Yeah, that's what I'm hoping. That's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, I mean, neighbours always have problems with each other. He's bound to have an axe to grind about something or other, even if it's just like the guy not putting out the garbage enough.
I know, and if he's renting the room out to Blaine, then he might have some opinions about him anyway. So we're just going to coax it out a little bit.
Yeah,
so we kind of
see what he's got to say about it.
Tap on the door and
Sure.
Hey,
Yeah,
mister,
excuse me. He's a friendly guy. He invites you in, asks you to have a seat. He's kind of, why are you guys here? What's going on?
Well, I'll be honest with you, sir. My friend and I have just got back from a trip with the university, and your neighbour is he your neighbour or your tenant? Sorry.
Yes, tenant Robert.
Your tenant. Your tenant was he was one of the leaders of our trip, and he wasn't feeling himself towards the end, and we haven't seen him for a few days, and frankly, sir, we were a bit worried.
I think at that point, Danny maybe fills in case the guy's interested or it helps him. And I'm thinking these guys are upstairs and let's fill in the time, So I explain a little bit about what we were doing on the trip in case it perks his interest, and because Blaine might not have told him anything, So.
Yeah, as a matter of fact, he reacts a little surprised and a little relieved at the same time, in that he didn't know he was missing, or he didn't know he was going on this field trip. So he was starting to suspect that he was actually missing. It's been almost a week since he had seen him last, and he was starting to get worried about him. So he was kind of glad that you filled him in and told him that he was on a field trip.
So you say you haven't seen him for a week?
I think it's been about a week. I think I first heard him a day or two ago. He came back, I don't know what time it was, but middle of the night, I don't know, 2 o'clock in the morning, I think. I heard him rattling around upstairs.
You haven't seen him. You don't know how he's feeling.
I haven't really seen him or talked to him. I just hear him come and go. I've noticed some strange smells coming from the apartment upstairs. I hope he's okay.
Smells.
Sometimes he's a bit of a loner, and we're just kind of keeping an eye out for him because he sometimes talks to us and sometimes he doesn't. Does he have any other college students visit him up here?
Not really. I mean, he, like you say, he's a bit of a strange guy. He's got his ups and downs. I know he doesn't really talk to me about it, but I know in the past he's had problems. And it seems, from what I can tell, just from hearing him come and go with those strange hours, I suspect he's fallen back into that same pattern again.
Oh, Yes, I think we may have an inkling of what you mean. I'll sort of look anxiously at Danny, and then back at the old man.
Danny's just like, I guess he stays out quite late at night then a lot of these times, yeah.
Pretty much. Like, I mean, if I were you guys, if you wanted to talk to him, I mean, I don't know what your schedules are, but I would say come back like around 2 a.m, and you might be able to catch him.
Goodness, that's awfully late. You know, we'd really appreciate it if you perhaps you shouldn't say that we were around. I'm a little bit worried. I don't know what you think, Danny, but
yeah, I think you're right. He might go into a mood or something.
Says is true, and he's having his old problems again. Then it might exacerbate things if he knows we've been poking about in his business. But I can assure you, sir, that we're just genuinely we're just concerned students of his. It's been it was a very odd trip. It's been a very trying time for us all. How long did you say he's lived here?
Oh, I think it's been about 2 years.
2 years. And prior to this, he's been.
I think he originally, when he first came to the school, I think he was originally staying in the dorms as a freshman. But I think sophomore or junior year, I don't remember what year he's in, but I know he's an upperclassman now. But he moved out here to get away from the dormitories.
Yeah, I think Danny just backs up Jasper's story about, or maybe, he might get annoyed if he knows we've been asking for him, so, but we might drop by at some point to see him, when he's around.
Yep, sure. I mean, unless you think maybe it would do him good to know that he's got a friend looking in on him. But if you think it'll be better to keep it quiet, I won't say anything.
What do you think, Jasper?
I mean, we're concerned, but you have to bear in mind that we're not really his friends; we're his students, and it may seem from his perspective like we're crossing some sort of line by prying into his personal life like this. We're only influenced by a sense of concern, but I'm worried he might not see it that way.
Okay, well, I will respect your wishes. I won't say anything.
Certainly not something we'd like to deal with.
I mean, to be honest with you, I probably won't even see him. When he's coming back at wherever he is at 2 a.m, I'm certainly not getting up to talk to him. So chances are I probably won't even talk to him at all.
Before this, his habits were quite normal, were they?
Yeah, well, like I said, he had that rough bout maybe a year ago.
Oh yes.
But I think he kind of pulled himself up out of that, and that's what I was hoping that was continuing. But it seems like lately he might be slipping back.
Yeah, I think that's what we were thinking. He seemed pretty down at the end of the trip.
Mm-hmm.
I've read that these things can be quite cyclic as well, so it doesn't surprise me. But it does seem that something set him off. And I'm sure you appreciate with the beginning of term coming on. I mean, we really can't let something like this get out of hand.
Well, I see your buddies are coming down the steps. Y'all want some cup of tea or cup of coffee?
Oh, that cup of tea would be lovely. Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, I shout the other guys. Would you like a cup of tea?
Sure.
As soon as we're done ransacking his apartment.
Yeah, maybe a couple of moments. Maybe the old boy's hearing isn't as sharp as ours, and a couple of points we heard shuffling upstairs,
Mm-hmm.
and a few nervous glances, and that's when we spoke a bit louder when we're talking to him, to try and hide the noise.
Yeah, he's
stuff.
not. He's he's elderly, so he's not. But I don't want to portray him as like, penile. He knows what's going on.
Right.
Just might not know everything that's going on. Like
But we're nice. We're nice boys from the college.
Yeah.
And he's from the college, so yeah.
So we maybe just have some small talk and ask him about his life and what he did for work, or if he's still working and things like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Just some chit chat.
Sure.
Yes, we'll enjoy this lovely cup of tea.
I want to sort of ask the question when we're discussing it about, are these his normal hours, or did they change after we got back?
These are the hours that he sort of kept when he was in his bad time.
So these are normal hours for him. He's not changed his hours.
Meaning before the trip, he seemed to be okay and he kept normal hours.
Well, I'm thinking
Since
before the
trip.
Okay.
Gotten back from the trip. Now he's back to the old pattern of coming back at 2 in the morning.
Okay.
It's only been 2 or 3 days, so.
Okay. Yeah, I'm afraid we're afraid that he's back to drinking again.
And I'm going to kind of look angrily at Tug as he says that, because we've been trying to skirt around actually saying it. He's just come out and blurted it out.
Yeah,
that's tough.
And Danny looks at Jasper, and the look is Danny Tug can he keep his mouth shut.
Yeah, I'm silently doing that.
And I just sort of shrug my shoulders and I say, look, we got to watch out for one another. So we're just concerned. Anyway, thanks for the
start of term isn't the right time, is it? It's
we'll get him all fixed up.
I think as we head away, we just obviously relay the conversation and maybe the prompt that the chap had said, if you want to see him, you'd need to be here at 2 o'clock in the morning. So that's another kind of stakeout, or whatever we would call it back then. If we wanted to keep an eye out and see where he's coming from or what he's up to.
All right. So are we going to leave? Yeah.
Okay.
I think.
And as we're going, we're probably in a car. It's not much of a town though. I thought of something.
Do another spot hidden before you leave.
Okay.
It's him or all of us.
Anybody.
Ow! I stuck my finger in my eye. I got a 000.
Oh man.
I got a cocked dice resting on my glasses case.
A hard success.
Danny, you just noticed that on your way out, you're walking down the driveway, and you see a elderly woman in the house next door. You just see her peeking out the window through the curtains, and when she sees you, she kind of like dodges back like she doesn't want to be seen, but you saw her.
Guys, there's a nosy neighbour there.
They're all over the town.
Wave, because that's just what I do when someone says there's a nosy neighbour. I'll just go like that.
Is it worth going and talking to her and asking her, because she'll be keeping an eye on everything that's going on here, or is that too forward?
In game, I'll just say if you decide to do that, she won't give you any additional information.
Fair enough.
I was going to say as well. I mean, if he lived there, I think I think if he owned the house, it would be appropriate to talk to his neighbour about the man next door. But if he's a tenant,
Yeah.
it's kind of different, isn't it? If he's a lodger.
Yeah.
There's a difference between going to a next door neighbour and saying, "Oh, can I talk to you about nice Mr. So and so next door?" And can I
Yeah,
talk
fair
to
enough.
you about your next door neighbour's lodger? Is a bit.
Well, let's get back and get something to eat, and then we can plan our thing in the morning.
Okay. Well, in this, if we're leaving, my character says, "You know, there's something I was thinking about when I was up there. We of course tell you everything that we found. I'm really interested in finding that Sinistari book and reading through it since I found out it's all about sex." I say I thought of something really weird. If as Jerry thinks, they've got things in their heads, couldn't we rig something up like an electrostatic generator or something that would like cause some sort of interference? It would make them tweak like this if they
Who knows what waves or radiances their technology relies on?
Well, I mean, you know, we have phones, and the static gets really, really bad during like thunderstorms because of the electricity in the air. I was just thinking maybe the physics department at the university has some sort of a little you know, like the one that has the discs on it and you spin it.
You mean like that fella who built that tower?
Edison?
No, the other guy, the
Yeah.
alternating current guy. He built a tower that was meant to like send out electrical waves or something. I read about it in one of my father's practical mechanics magazine.
Yeah, well, something like that. Something that, you know, because if it gets some, maybe magnets. What if we waved a magnet over one of their heads?
Mr. Tester, that was his name. Mr. Tester.
Tester.
Yeah, we wanted to. If we had a thing like Mr. Tester built with the lightning bolts, but a little one.
Nickleby, wasn't it? Nickleby Tester.
No,
that's Nicholas Nickleby you're thinking of.
Jester Tester.
Gerald.
Maybe when Tug and Jerry tell us about that letter from is it the mother? You were saying?
Yeah, Jerry wrote it down. Read it out to her. Well, we'll just.
Yeah, I'm just. There could be somebody we could go and talk to, but that might be really difficult to do that.
Yeah, well, maybe.
Considering her attitude toward Blaine and Ms. Devine, I can hardly imagine that she'd be any more favorable in talking to us. That doesn't mean we shouldn't, but I wouldn't expect a friendly reception. I do think we'll need to find out whatever the previous fieldwork team discovered that was of such interest to Professor Harold.
Yeah. Well,
and like you said, Tug will definitely need a copy of the demoniality.
And do you want to sneak back here at night and see if Blaine shows up?
I would be up for it.
I think we should. He'll appreciate having some allies in this investigation.
All right. Well, let's go back, and if we're going to do something like that, we need to take naps, because if we're going to get up in the middle of the night and then be downstairs at 7:45 a.m. to check on the other people, then we need to get some rest. So
We need to bring a snack or something as well to keep us going. Maybe a jar of something.
You guys are like young college students. You're used to staying up till 2, 3 in the morning. Come on. Maybe you should bring a sweater. It might get chilly out.
All right.
I've got my raccoon skin coat.
this voice comes to my head that says that we're college kids and that we wear sweaters. So I guess that's what we're going to do. No.
It was a different time of year, I guess.
All right.
Is that the plan? Is there anything you guys want to do up until then?
Buy another rifle.
Yeah.
If a place is still open. What time of day is it?
Yeah, I'll say this all took maybe till early afternoon. So.
Oh, good. So now that I've been reminded that I'm probably not getting my own rifle back anytime soon, unless Blaine, I don't know. I actually am thinking that if Blaine is also investigating the situation and I can afford another rifle, which I believe I can, maybe he'll appreciate the gesture and I'll let him keep it. Yeah, I'm going to, since I believe we decided the other rifle was a Winchester 54, Jerry had been having trouble making up his mind which one he preferred anyway. So he's going to go find himself a Remington 30 and, I don't know, sufficient ammunition for a hunting trip. And then I guess I'll meet the other guys for dinner. Unless everyone... Actually, though, well, gentlemen, now that I've been reminded that I remain unarmed, and it looks like even if we do find Blaine, perhaps he'll appreciate the gesture of being allowed to keep what he's borrowed from me. I'm going to go find myself another rifle. Perhaps the rest of you would like to be more well-armed than you are now?
I think we should bring some rope because we might want to grab him and tie him up.
Oh, well, they may have a sturdy rope if I believe there's a hunting... I believe they have hunting supplies at the same place I'll be going for the rifle. You want to come along?
Yeah.
Perhaps you will see something you like. Can you shoot, by the way?
Everyone can shoot. What do you mean, can I shoot? Everybody can shoot, can't they? You pull the trigger, point the damn thing, and you pull the trigger.
Maybe what I should have said is, can you aim?
My firearms are base. I'm not a marksman. I'm a rower. I could bring an oar and beat the shit out of him if we want to.
Well, for all my love of boating, I've never learned to row. Perhaps someday when we are not hunting things from other dimensions, maybe we can exchange our knowledge. It would be nice to enjoy a trip that doesn't involve things from...
Let's head on over to Marty's sporting goods store and see what we can find. All right. So that's what we do this afternoon. But then I sneak upstairs and take a nap.
When we're traveling, does Tug know if Clarissa was amongst that group that went out to the quad ring?
Oh, yeah. She was there.
I had a thought that I could maybe go and try and talk to her, but we can't really because we want to see what they're up to. So that's fine. I just wondered.
Jerry, would it be fair? I don't have your sheet in front of me, your credit rating. Would it be fair to say that if you were to buy this rifle, sort of, you weren't planning for this sort of expense? So would it be fair to say this is going to wipe you out financially to the point where, like, you wouldn't be able to buy another one tomorrow? You know what I mean?
My credit rating is 10.
Yeah, that's pretty low. So you're going to have to, like, gather kind of all the cash you have in in your house or apartment or whatever. And, this is going to be a big purchase item. Now, I mean, it's not like buying a car, but,
right. I won't have to make payments on my firearm. Okay. So.
What's your spending limit for the day? Do you have that written down?
I think maybe I do on the... I didn't use the auto sheet at first. Let me look back at the original.
We can get into that. So basically what I'm just saying is, I'll grant you have the cash laying around to do this, but it's a big expense and that maybe it might come back to haunt you later on. Anything other than rope tug that you wanted to get? Was there anything else?
No, not really. Maybe
Okay.
maybe a flashlight.
All right. So shall we fast forward then? You want to go right to the
Yeah.
stakeout then? So you were given the time around 2 a.m. What do you guys want to do?
Is there some bushes or trees we can hide amongst?
I'm picturing this as like a small suburbia. So
It's a
some
neighborhood.
trees, some bushes nearby. Yeah.
Why don't we just park our car across the street and sit in the car and watch? Because it's dark. Everybody's in bed at this time of night. Nobody's
Okay. I'll maybe hide. Why don't I hide in the bushes near this stair going up in case if he sees you and runs away, I can jump out and grab him.
Okay. Here's the rope. Just in case you need to tie him up.
Do you want the gun?
No. I might shoot you in the dark. I'm a terrible shot.
Can you give me a sense what time you're going to get there?
We're going to get there about 1.
1 hour. Okay.
Yeah. That way.
Well, I'm not going to sit in the bushes for an hour. I'll sit in the car with the guys, maybe until about 15 minutes, 20 minutes before, and then I'll sneak in the garden.
Okay.
Well, we don't even know if he's going to show up at that time.
That's true.
We're going to have to get lucky.
All right. So it's obviously it's dark. You guys have been sitting in the car for quite a while now. I'm trying to picture what's your. Are you guys kind of like all serious and attentive and looking at this and looking at that, or are you like goofing around and?
Well,
I'm definitely the former. I'm terrified.
Yeah. Okay.
We're kind of assuming that Blaine will come driving up in a car. We'll see some headlights. But I'm being somewhat attentive, just looking down the street, making sure if I don't see somebody walking, even though I don't know if there's street lights, maybe there's gas light, I don't know what.
Yeah, I don't know.
When it's kind of boring, like the kind of earlier in the hour before the 2 o'clock mark, Danny's asking, kind of, instead of I spy with my little eye, it's like, what do you think is the luckiest fruit you can have? And what's the most luckiest items you can have with you and things? Just to kind of wind up Jerry a little bit.
The luckiest fruit?
I think it's the Chinese gooseberry.
It's the Chinese one?
Yeah.
Lychee.
No, they call them. They started growing them in New Zealand recently, and they call them kiwi fruits because they look like little birds they have down there. I can't imagine how that could look like a bird.
I heard they look like hand grenades.
Well, kiwis.
The fruits.
Oh, the fruits.
I heard that they delivered some of those to some government place, and they thought that they were a box full of hand grenades.
All right, let me see if I can do this right. If this works, you guys are chatting about the lucky fruit when you hear this.
Pomegranate.
The fuck was that? That was a gunshot.
That was a gunshot. That was.
Where was that? Was there a flash anywhere?
This spot hidden.
Yeah, Jeff, I was going to ask where it might have come from.
Yep.
I got a 25, which is a pass.
93. I went.
You have to have been looking in the right direction when it happened.
Pass for me.
So those that passed, you saw a flash come from Blaine's apartment.
I think he's just shot himself.
But how did he get past us?
We better get away from here, guys.
Yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
We'll end up in prison again.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
if
got
it was
enough
any
time.
other time of day, but 2 in the morning, no one's going to believe we were just passing.
Yeah. Let's
Jerry,
go.
shall we go? Shall we go back to your place just now?
That would be fine.
We should make like leaves and go.
Yeah, and we'll find out in the morning if something happened. Holy crap, guys.
You see the light turn on from the downstairs neighbor.
Go, 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 go.
Mr. Flanagan. I don't know if I gave you his name. Sam Flanagan.
What's going on?
All right, are we going? We're going.
Yep.
Without the lights turned on for a few minutes.
We were
we're
just
bo-
over at the
bombing it.
university when we heard the noise and drove over.
Yeah.
We were bombing it down the road at 15 miles an hour.
Well, as soon as we're 300 or 400 feet away, then I'm going to gun it. I'm not gun it, but drive normally.
Full power. All 4 of us put our feet through the floor and start running.
Who's driving?
I'm driving, I guess.
Okay. Danny, Jasper, and Jerry, can you do a spot hidden and tell me what number you get?
56 out of 45.
31 out of 60.
15 out of 58.
15? 1-5? That's
Yep.
pretty good. Danny, as you're driving away, you can't help but look back, and maybe it's your eyes are playing tricks on you, but you think in the shadow of one of the trees out front on the curb, you think you see a shadow of a person kind of walking the opposite direction.
Not the old man shape, but another person maybe.
Maybe. It's hard to tell.
I just tell the guys, there's somebody in the bushes, or somebody in the trees there.
Where?
Once he-
Where?
In the garden, I saw a shadow come out and move. Did it go across the road or around the back, or
No, it's just kind of like walk down the sidewalk.
going down
How
the
far
road?
away from the house are we at this point?
I'll say maybe 4 houses down.
What if I go around the block and cut them off, or whoever it is walking?
Guys, I just had a crazy thought. What if it's the mother of that girl? Or no,
What
The-
girl?
the letter, the woman you were telling us about that hated him, or
All
was
the
it her
way from
husband?
Cobb's Corners?
No, the one that hated him for the person that lost their life. I can't remember what you said.
That was the lady from Cobb's Corners.
Oh,
well,
was
he's
it?
only just got back from there, so it would make kind of sense that someone.
Like, I think you should
followed him
drive down, Tug. That maybe they shot him.
Well, let's do that. But I'm going to try to make it not obvious because I'm sure there are other cars, a few of them out driving around.
Well, I
Not
kinda hope
much
we
this time.
don't catch him. I mean, first of all, we found that girl. If we start like catching killers as well, it's going to look suspicious.
Well, I'm going to drive past, and somebody just flash their flashlight to see if they can see who it is.
So Tug, I heard 2 different things there. Are you going around the block or are you doing a U-turn?
If we're on this street, then I'm gonna turn on another street, come back around, and then maybe do a cross street. I figure by then they'll be at least at that street if they're walking in that direction.
Okay.
I'm trying to do something without turning around and driving back, because then we're still in the neighborhood, right? Where we're
Okay. So you go down, you make a right, you make another right, you make another right, and you're back on the street, and you all are keeping an eye out. You don't see anything. You're approaching Blaine's house again.
All right.
Well, let's just get out of here.
I'm sure the lights are all on by now.
Yeah.
All right. So let's go back to the university and everybody go where they're going. Jerry, you're staying off campus?
Yes, You're all welcome to come on over if you'd like.
I think I should go back to. I've got a roommate, so I'm going to go back to the. I'll drop you
Are
off.
we still?
Yeah, 7:45.
Where are we meeting again?
Room 30, next to room 35 in the quad.
All right. Well, if I'm late, don't wait for me. I'll meet you in the square.
I told you to take a nap, and you didn't do it.
Oh, I don't think I'll have any problem staying awake.
And we got to get a newspaper in the morning to see if we find out that somebody's been moited. All right.
Okay.
Moida.
It's a good place to wrap it, but I do want to ask this. Could you each read off what your POW is? Your POW scores?
My POW is 60.
50.
65.
75.
Okay.
So, Jeff, I actually looked it up, and just so we're not exploiting the system, it looks like so quickly, with a credit rating of only 10, standardly, I wouldn't be able to afford as good of a rifle. I would still be able to afford a 30, but it would be a lever action carbine and not a bolt action rifle, unless you think I had like money saved. And in that case, even then, I might have only been able to get something like a Lee Enfield would be $50. It looks like I should only have about maybe 20. So, whatever you want to say is the case. I'm not sure what the rules are for having money saved.
A Daisy BB gun.
Right.
Those are your
I know about those because they were advertised in DC Comics.
Put an eye out on that thing.
So I know exactly what they are.
Usually on your cash and assets, it's spending level, cash, and assets. So spending level is what you normally spend during the day. Cash is what you've got in the bank.
Okay, so
and
based
assets are what you own.
All right, so based on that, by daily spending level, I can't even afford a rifle. So I basically had to take money I had. So I could only afford it with money I had saved, and the best thing I could get would have been a 30 lever action. So that may motivate Jerry to want his gun back from Blaine. He might tell Blaine he can have the new gun, but he wants his own gun back. So
yeah. You can tell it to his dead body.
Could I just make the rather obvious observation that that gun might actually be evidence now?
Right.
If he probably won't see that again.
You realise, Jerry, he might have killed himself with your rifle?
Yeah, Jeff.
Yeah.
Jerry would recognize what kind of gunshot it was. In fact, I believe we had determined that Jerry is like very hypersensitive now to gunshots, in fact. And so it seems reasonable that based on past experience and a certain level of hypersensitivity, he had a very good chance of recognizing the type of gun, if not maybe not caliber, and if it's his own rifle, maybe he would know it was at least that kind of rifle. What would I have to roll to identify what kind of gun it was?
That's a good point. I don't even think I'm gonna ask you to roll. I'm just gonna say you recognized it. That was probably your rifle.
Well, then Jerry is brooding now. He's.
Well, we're all witnesses to the fact that he stole your rifle, so they can't say that you murdered him with your rifle.
That kind of hard though to kill yourself with a shotgun, with a rifle.
Yeah,
the barrel is kind of long.
You just
remember
with a string or something.
Oh,
remember, we need to get up in the morning for this
Yeah,
Why would you even be speculating that Blaine shot himself?
because he shot himself. I mean, come on.
Yep.
You think Gil Gordon
Obviously,
shot
he
him?
was either he was defending himself, or someone else murdered him.
We'll know
because
in
he's
the morning.
Shot
Getting
shot
too-
himself. If we're opening a book and having a sweepstakes on it, then I'm putting $1 on depressive dipsomania.
People keeping odd hours trying to solve a mystery.
He's super depressed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah,
the man's he's on the bottle. That's
We'll know in the
it
morning.
wrecks lives. That's why they banned it. You know.
They'll know whatever it says in the
Because
paper
of
in
what
the
happened
morning.
to him.
That's not the same thing as knowing anything.
Guys, I'm shattered. We need to get up in the morning. Come on.
It's a good idea, this prohibition. You know?
Our players included Mick Swan, George C., Ken Trench, and myself, with Jeff Wilkins as the keeper of the secrets. We're currently producing up to 4 shows a week with music and sound effects added in post-production in order to create a richer listener experience. We provide audio-only versions of our shows free for you to download from Podbean or iTunes. If you'd like to become a patron, visit our Patreon account. Just $1 or $2 a month helps us a lot. You can find a link in the description below. Like, share, and subscribe to our channel, and punch that bell icon for updates on our latest shows, and leave us some comments. We enjoy reading them and answer any questions you might have. This is Tom Rayleigh, together with all the members of our gaming club, inviting you to journey with us once again into the darkness for another adventure into the universe of H.P. Lovecraft and the Call of Cthulhu role-playing game. Until next time, good luck and good gaming.